Tell you what, it's a little weird out today. It seems like the sky's falling. Let's take a look around. All right, so here's the deal. We had, this is January 3rd, I think it is, 2021. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully you guys had a great holiday. But we had an ice storm that came through on New Year's Eve, and then the last 2 days it's been just overcast, completely overcast, snowing off and on. Not a huge amount of snow accumulation because, well, it's, you know, wasn't that cold out. It was in the mid-30s, I gotta move. It was in the mid-30s, like 35, 33, you know, something like that. So it was just right at that point where, you know, it could snow, and it really didn't accumulate a whole lot of snow. It was kind of nice, actually. Everything was pretty. And you can kind of still see, let me turn the camera a little bit, you might be able to see back here in my back. So I don't know how well you can see that back there, but you can see the trees all covered with ice and snow, all leaning over, all heavy, and you know, luckily it wasn't too bad. We didn't have any big limbs down here. I know there were a couple of places that had some limbs fall, and we did have some little ones, but nothing big, nothing did any damage, so that's good. A lot of times when you get these ice storms that come through, they, you know, they weigh down those limbs, and if you don't get them regularly, like we don't get them regularly, we get them every couple of years maybe, or, you know, it's a big span between them. Sometimes it'll, you know, cause whole trees to fall down, take power out in places, and I know there are some places that lost power around here, but I think for the most part everybody's okay. But it sure made for some pretty landscape. I went out and took some pictures the other day, yesterday actually, went out and got some photos, tried to capture it, took some wildlife photos and things like that. I'll post a couple of them on here so you can see them, and really got some nice photos. It was just kind of a nice change from normal. We don't get a ton of snow around here, and like I said, it wasn't too terribly cold. So I keep looking up because I'm making sure nothing's going to fall on me, because what's happened now is that the sun's come out today and it's going to be warming up, but just the fact that the sun's out, all this ice is starting to melt and it's just falling off the trees, and just crazy amounts. I don't get to see this very often. Usually when we have an ice storm or something, it melts off slowly. But this stuff is just, I mean, it's just raining down out of the trees. You can probably see ice falling all around me. I mean, it almost looks like a storm going on here. Let me turn it this way. I don't know if you guys can see that or hear that, but it almost looks like it's snowing. Like there's ice falling off the trees. I've got to watch where I walk. I don't want this stuff falling on my head. But it's just crazy. It's just raining down. Like I said, it's kind of unusual, because usually we see, you know, whenever this stuff melts off, it melts off a little bit slower than that. It doesn't just fall out of the trees all at once. But this is going to be all cleared up here pretty quick. So also got to make sure, I think I'm past the point of having to worry about any kind of limbs falling or anything like that. I think I really don't think I have a risk of that, but you know, it's something I got to kind of keep an eye out for, make sure nothing falls on my head. As far as the animals go, animals made it through just fine. This stuff here, I mean, it's falling, it's making all kinds of racket. It's freaking my dog out when he comes out. He just doesn't know what to do. But you know, the rabbits and the quail don't seem to be bothered by it at all. I mean, they're out. I take you over here, but again, it's under the trees and there's ice falling all over it. Well, you know what, let's do it anyway. Let's go take a look at them. So I don't know if you can see in the quail cages over here or not, but I mean, they're out just meandering around, just eating and drinking like normal. I put my hood up, I got ice falling down the back of my neck. But yeah, they're just out here, just no problems. Doesn't bother them a bit. It doesn't seem to be affecting them at all. It's just not freaking them out. They made it through the ice storms just fine. The cold weather we had, it didn't get that cold. I think the coldest it got down was down to about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. And they all just huddle up in the sandboxes like they do in the wintertime, and no problems. Everybody's doing just fine. I got to get these, wait, when everything thaws out, I got to take down the watering system, because it is that time of year now where, you know, I think we're going to have more frozen days than, well, a lot of them anyway. And, you know, I don't want to leave it up. It's going to end up breaking. In fact, I may have already had. No, it doesn't look like I've got any busted lines or anything like that. So quail a little freaked out about me being over here, but the ice falling off the trees doesn't seem to be bothering them at all. It's just, I don't know how well this is translating on film. It's just such a weird thing, ice falling all around me and just out of the trees with the sun out. It's just odd. Well, where you live, you may get a lot more snow than we do. We get snow a couple of times a year, and it's kind of rare that we have these snowfalls where it coats the trees and everything's just white, and it's really pretty and really neat to look at. And the good thing was, like I said, it wasn't so much that it made the roads difficult to drive. In fact, the roads never really froze over. I mean, they did initially when the snow came in, but then they thawed right off. The driveway thawed off. I didn't even have to shovel the snow off the driveway. It's just been on the verge of being too warm, so the snow and stuff was just on the grass and things. It didn't affect the driving conditions at all, which is nice because you can get out and get around still just fine. I went out and took a little bit of a hike yesterday morning out at a local conservation area. That's where some of the pictures I posted came from, and it was actually pretty nice. There was no wind. It was only about 38, 35 maybe, something like that, but there wasn't any wind, so it really wasn't that bad. And it was a nice walk through the woods. Everything white, covered in ice and snow, and just looked kind of cool. It's hard to capture that on film, but it is pretty nice. I do like a good snowfall every once in a while. So anyway, I thought I'd just share that with you guys. You guys, where you're from, you may get a lot of snow and you may be sick of seeing it. You may see this kind of stuff all the time, but it's kind of rare around here. It's not very often that we see, these kinds of things happen. So I thought I'd share it. This tree over here, man, it really gets going. Let me turn this way. Look at that. I hope that's showing up on film. It just rains out of that tree. Oh, I just had one bonk me right on top of the head. Very strange. All this will be gone here in probably next couple of hours, maybe. At least by the end of the day, it's all going to be gone. It's not even that cold out right now. I think it's probably 40 degrees or something like that, and the sun's out, so it's warming up fast. Anyway, thanks for coming along with me on this today, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, God bless.